working on her mental game for a little while now.
Yeah.
Took a little break for a little bit of time, and then worked on it prior to that. And I want to talk to you about that first. So, when would you say you started working on your mental game, your mental training?
Probably the first time, probably a year and a half ago now, and then I got done with your course the first time, and at first I felt like I took a lot away from it, and then I didn't really do anything with it for a while, and it just kind of fell off again. And so then I contacted you again a few months ago, I think.
Yeah.
And then we just started working on that again.
Yeah. And it was interesting because myself and Sarah we saw how great Emily was doing, and we knew that she was really loving the online course and the training and had some really great results. And then when she reached out, she had asked a few questions that I was like, wait, I could tell she hadn't digested the training as much as I would have liked, because otherwise she would have asked that certain questions. And obviously that's not just her. I see this pretty often. You know, obviously everybody's different. Some people dive in and they really enmesh themselves and have great progress, and I can hear that when I run into them, and especially their excitement and the progress they've made. But then when I hear somebody ask like certain questions, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You know, and so Emily knew that there was a chance you probably needed to dive back in and really digest it better. And again, you don't ever really know if somebody's willing to do that either. So I was excited that you were. Because I knew the answers you were looking for were there. So, what would you say? So we're at Jack Links now, but your last event was what, 2 weekends ago?
Yep.
What event was that?
It was the ACUI Lower Midwest Super Shoot.
Whoa, that's a lot to say there.
Yeah.
So, how did you do there?
Good. I definitely overcame some struggles, though.
Yeah. So, what would some of the struggles?
So we've had quite a few family health problems arise in the past couple months, and we had a close family friend pass away a couple days before the shoot.
I'm sorry. Oh,
and his funeral was actually during one of the events. So trying to keep my mind focused on what I'm there supposed to be doing instead of thinking about that was definitely something that I've struggled with in the past. But using the techniques I've learned through your course actually helped me through it a lot.
That's incredible, and I didn't even expect you to say that. So I love that, because we're all human, right? And human stuff is going on in each of our lives. And some people, when they think of like the mental game for clay shooting, they think there's just a mental game for clay shooting, and that's not at all how I teach it. Like I say, the mind is the mind, or the brain is the brain, and you don't have a different one that you take off the shelf and put in when you're going to a competition.
I wish.
I know, right? Let's just tweak that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's personalities are different, and what they're dealing with in their life and their relationships and their work and their career and their school or whatever, and all that can impact their ability to perform well. But ideally, with good skills, you can keep bringing yourself back and being focused and letting go of things and compartmentalizing really well and still be able to do well. So I'm glad you had skills to help you get through that.
Me too.
Yeah. So how were your scores?
They were decent. Some, like especially the event that I shot during that time, it was below average for me. But other than that, I would say it was a very good weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what about compared to like previous years before mental training, what would you say you observe in yourself, even today and now?
Mm-hmm. So I'll just be honest, in the past I would have it just wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
I think it just would have taken over, and I probably would have shot the worst rounds because I'm a very emotional person, and I tend to let my emotions take over.
Yeah.
But, and in the past I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm shooting bad, I'll just get in my head, and then I cause myself to miss.
Yeah.
But using the techniques, especially deep breathing for me, just helps me get into that calm mindset and start thinking about the targets instead of everything else that could be going on at that time.
Right. Perfect. What would you say has been your biggest aha moment in the mental training course that I have?
Really just the whole thing. When I started shooting, I never even imagined that you had to have such a strong mental game for this sport. I just thought you had to move the gun, know where to put it, and you could be great. But I reached that point starting like a few years into it. I reached that point where I was stuck.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why until I actually found out about you. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know you had to have that mental game in order to be great.
Yeah.
So, really, just the whole thing in general was just that makes sense now.
Right. I totally understand. And there's hardly anybody else, if anybody, teaching the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's like sports psychology, but a lot of that is related to like pre-shot routine and a lot of mechanics of the pre-shot routine, and not like I like to say this is the true mental game, because it's like psychology, it's the mind, it's how the mind affects you and your performance in your life and these different perceptions and everything.
And I think your course does a really good job of explaining why people need that and what it can help them to achieve.
Yeah. Cool. What do you look forward to overcoming in the rest of your training? Like, do you see some things on the horizon for yourself that you're ready to tackle?
I'm ready to. So sometimes I still struggle with the mental game, obviously.
Right.
I think everyone does. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully overcoming that, where it can become consistent in my shooting.
Right.
So then I don't ever have a moment where I'm like, if only,
Right.
If only I wouldn't have let myself slip, if only I would let my mind take over.
Yeah, and the thing is it is a training process. Everybody's different ages. Some people are in their 20s and some in their 50s, but there's repetition there already of how to think about things, belief systems, how to react in situations. There's personality traits, like somebody gets more angry quicker, or they are very regretful or resentful, or they hold on to the past and keep replaying it. And everybody's got kind of a different combo of all that. And so it does take time, not only to learn new skills and new ways of thinking, and then you have to implement it. Like, let me actually implement what I've learned, even though this is a really hard moment for me, or I just missed several targets, or my score isn't what I would have liked. You have to then apply what you're learning and then stick to it. And it's like lots of repetition of this new information, and then it becomes second nature, just like the yucky bad habits that have been there. So it just takes time and sticking to it. So what's your favorite hypnosis meditation audio right now?
The one that I use the most is the Accomplished Shooter.
Oh, nice.
I love that one. Yes, When you came out with it, I read the description. I actually saw the email and I was like, oh, new ones. Cool. So I read the description. I was like, this is what I need.
Nice.
Because I was starting to understand the mental game, and I've had a few accomplishments in my shooting career, and just that hypnosis audio, if I have what I would call bad shoot, then if I listen to it, it brings back all the achievements I've had. And it helps me focus on what I need to do instead of thinking about the bad tournament that I had.
Perfect. Yeah, because most people are misusing their mind. If you think of your mind like this really awesome computer that we just don't, nobody teaches us about it. We don't know how to use it properly unless you go through some kind of training. And so then this misuse of it, and it holds people back, and they are beating themselves up, and they're tearing down their confidence, and they're repeating bad habits and bad ways of responding that keep holding them where they are instead of progressing. And so, to be able to look at all that and overcome all that and start to use the mind properly and efficiently, which is a big part of like focusing on the positives and seeing your accomplishments. And we're kind of not taught to do that, because we're taught it's arrogant if you think positive about
Right.
yourself. It's so
Right.
weird, but it's also self-defeating when we don't think positive about
Yeah.
ourselves. So I like that you like that one. It's
Yeah,
a
I
really
love
good
that
audio.
one.
Yeah. What would you say your friends and family are saying is the biggest difference in you?
Well, I would hope they're saying my attitude
Okay.
towards things. I think they would. So even last year when I'd shoot, I was always thinking about my misses.
Yeah.
And I was always stuck there. And now I am sorry. I'm a lot I can let things go easier
Yeah.
than I could in the past and move on and not let that station affect the rest of my round, because
Yeah.
that's what I was notorious for it. If I had a really bad round or station, I would just let that station affect the whole rest and I couldn't finish out.
Yeah.
And now I can let it go enough to focus on the next to finish out stronger than I could before.
Nice.
And I would say even just my outlook, positive outlook in life too.
Nice.
Like, I've always been a very negative person,
Yeah.
but since taking this course, it's helped me see the positives in life in general,
Nice.
and just seeing that every day's a new day and it could be
Yeah.
better.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. You deserve it. We all deserve to be happier. Well, thank you, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad to have you on board, and
Me
I'm really
too.
happy for you.
Thank you.
In your life and your shooting, and I can't wait to talk to you again in the near future to get the next update.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you.